Yeah, we don't have long, but this is quite important because it's not often that you get people who have been successful willing to answer questions about how and why and how easy it was. And I think this is our challenge to these kind speakers who shared their stories, is to just understand how feasible it is to translate the successes that they are responsible for into other places. And so we don't have a lot of time. I wanted to focus, I'm just going to focus on three areas. The first one is picking up the conversation that Corny just had in the session before us about sustainable development goals. And people talk about the most important agendas at the moment, whether it's about transport or economics.
Sorry, we're really running out.
Where's he gone? Yeah, I can hear him talking and he's not even in the room. Leave us alone. I'm interested in what is it that how you sell walking and improving your cities, how you can sell that best internally for these things that everybody keeps talking about, mindsets, the need to change mindsets. So in a word, some of the things we've heard about is growth, we've heard about congestion, maybe it's pollution. What is the number one thing for you in your city that is getting people to change mindsets? Do you mind if I start at the end and we start, Yvonne, with Singapore? What do you think is the best currency at the moment to change mindsets, either internally or with your public?
Hello. Well, I think you need to speak to different stakeholders. So you need to know what is their main concern. Of course, to the political leaders, we need to plan for growth. So if they know that, from an environmental viewpoint, from a land viewpoint, that's the only way, then yeah, you have to convince them that's the path to take. So for the community I think Singaporeans we love the cars. I think there's this aspirational aspect to owning a car. To get them to move towards public transport and walking, you really need to show them that it's the more effective and faster solution. If it's going to be as fast to get to your workplace, taking the car compared to public transport, then nobody's going to make that switch. So we need to change that mindset.
I'm going to
so
take
that's a quick one.
So that's efficiency.
Yeah, that's right.
Would that be okay? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Noel, can I ask you, what is it that works for you in the Philippines? What is the biggest win? How can you sell walking schemes?
Well, we have to do a lot of social marketing. We call it social marketing, information and education drive, because some of the issues are not issues yet, although they are there already. So we have to show them that what works and what doesn't work. Okay,
so you have to create a problem for you to be solving it.
Well, the problem is there, but people do not realize that.
And what's the problem that you sell them first?
For example, the issue of water pollution. They are not aware of this, and we have to sell, the idea that wastewater and diseases are connected.
You talked about pollution and congestion. Would you say that these are really big issues for everyday people?
Yes. We have to also link congestions and air pollution.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to keep moving through. Stockholm, you don't have any air pollution, do you? It's lovely.
Yes, we have. We have, of course. But it's not so much pollution, I would say. It's a really nice town, so come and visit us. But I would say how to sell it to the public. I would say we have tried to change streets for the summer. We call it summer pedestrian streets. So for 3 months there are restaurants and other things. And then we take it away in the autumn, and people are angry because they love it. So we start a process in their minds.
So it's about space. Yeah, you talked a lot about parking and having a strategy about parking, using space differently.
Yes.
Is space the really issue for the city and something that resonates with everybody?
And not for those who are owning the cars, but
Okay.
everybody else loves it, because in Stockholm there are a lot of people that don't own cars, and those who own it, they are angry about this. And then I would say we had a visit of Obama for a couple of years ago when we shut down half of the city, and it was a marvelous weather, and the Stockholmers loved it. So that was also a sort of mind change to see the city in another way.
Yeah.
That
I quite like the idea that as soon as Obama stops being president, we could visit him around all these cities around the world.
Yes.
And just close all the streets and see how nice it might be. Okay, thank you. I'm going to keep you hold on to that microphone. You've got a microphone here. What about Seoul? You've been really a big game changer. You were taking away whole highway networks
Yes.
and making parks. Was that about space? What was it?
Actually, we have some alternative highways because unless we have done any alternatives, so we couldn't initiate those projects. So based on some operator level of alternative given, so we can initiate. But my experience, there's even if they actually expressed opposition in the same voice, but they have different motive based on their position. So always, I think the important thing is let citizens, let stakeholders show what really substantial gain they get from the project.
So it's about
Yeah.
selling the benefits.
Right, that's very significant.
Thank you. Anthony, you talked a lot about numbers and growth. You have, as you say, one of the densest cities in the world. Is it a numbers game that makes you want to keep expanding the railways and making a more walkable Hong Kong?
I guess, as one of the speakers has also alluded, there's a limit as to how far you can build more roads, apart from all the concerns about the environment, road emissions, and so on and so forth. So for us, the railway is the greenest and is a mass carrier. And because we do have millions of people sort of moving around the city, so we need to facilitate that. And it's not good enough just to tell people, well, can you please walk? But increasingly, if people rely on the vehicle transport, particularly if they rely on cars, then we are facing a big problem. And we are trying to achieve a least car-dependent city. But I can share with you that, in fact, behavior of many of our citizens is not going the same direction, because in terms of planning standards, we do not allow for too much car parking space for public housing estates. But we are facing constant demand for increasing the standard. So that's why I said in my remarks that the flesh is weak, even though the spirit is willing. People want to have the best of both worlds. I remember one of the socialist prime minister of Poland said, our people want the luxury of capitalism, at the same time they want the security of socialism. So we need to make a choice. I think for Hong Kong we have come to a stage where we do not necessarily need to spend as significantly as in the past in terms of infrastructure. But the community has to come to a consensus.
I'm going to ask all of you just one more thing, because we're going to run out of time otherwise. I want to know, you make it all look so easy when you show slides, don't they? Don't you see the pictures before and after, and you sort of think, oh, well, that was only a few minutes or a few hours, a few days of work. What was one of the real challenges? Carrie Lam talked about their needing to overcome, she talked about physical, conceptual, and sometimes political challenges. Have you come across a physical, a conceptual, or a political challenge? And can you share it with us to just demonstrate that you're really human in these cities, and that you've had to deal with some problems and it's still been okay? Can you share with us an example maybe of something that you've had to overcome? Because I think that's the reality for all of us, is that we do have these problems.
Maybe
Please.
I'll start first. I think actually Hong Kong can be very walkable. a couple of years ago, we have this Occupy protest in Hong Kong, and many of our roads are closed to traffic, and people have to walk. And that's why I joked whenever I meet foreign visitors in those days. I said, well, Hong Kong is very walkable. I think at the end of the day, it cannot just be top-down. It's not just a planning device and say, well, you have to walk. I think people have to like walking, and it's what Daniel said, daring to walk, right? One of your slogans. I think it's a behavioral change that is important.
And so in some ways that maybe that did help change the mindset in the city about the walkability. And people said already, Danny, I think he said how nicer it was to breathe the air when that was happening. It's an interesting point. Thank you for your honesty about that. Please, can I invite you about Seoul? Was it really easy to just tear down a highway?
Oh, no. Yeah, still we are difficult in persuading, but situation different. Maybe years, maybe for months. So sometimes we create different strategy to approach the citizens, how to show the real substantial effect. Sometimes in processing the demolishing those whole overpasses, we met 2,000 times with stakeholders.
2,000 meetings.
Yes.
That's very honest of you. Thank you very much. That's thank you. 2,000 meetings. How about that? If that's how you do it, though, and they got rid of an entire highway in 2,000 meetings, it sounds actually pretty efficient. Yeah. The deeper we go, the more honest we get. How many meetings to sort out the parking of Stockholm?
Pardon?
How many meetings did you need, or did you have a good relationship with people?
For changing the parking system, well, we are trying to have a lot of meetings to involve the citizens when we are changing the streets and the parking regulations and such things, but it's not so easy. It takes a lot of time. We haven't had 2,000 meetings. We have had 20, I think. We should have 2,000 meetings.
So actually the problem is getting people to engage. Is that an issue?
That's a problem. That's an issue, and it's a problem to manage to do it. We haven't got a lot of time as politicians, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. Any tips for how to implement what you've done in the Philippines into maybe other places? Any problems that you need to face and overcome?
Yes, in the first place, we don't even have road discipline in my city. So what complicates us is, the road sharing events that we have conducted is designed to promote discipline also as well. So we don't have problems with our politicians. We even have one senator joining us in these road sharing events. No? So political will is there. People willing to participate is there. Yeah. It's all in place. It's just a matter of time when we can gather more stakeholders to, widen our participation.
So it's about taking a bit more time and being even more effective. Thank you. And in Singapore, you have all these lovely plans and beautiful pictures of how it's all going to be. Is it all really that easy?
Okay, just quickly, I think nothing is ever easy. If you have to convince the other government agencies, you just have to keep going at it. There could be many rules and regulations that come in the way just to close a street, safety, security, traffic, but you just keep chipping at it. And then one day when they see the outcomes, then they will realize that, oh, that's what we are trying to achieve. So you need to show a pilot, a demonstration, and people will get the idea, and then it will be faster from that point.
Showing a pilot. I think that's a really good idea. Thank you. That's a great example. I did put them on the spot a bit, and I didn't give them any warning. So can you just thank our 5 speakers? I think they've shared some really great insights. Thank you. I'm going to hand you back to Danny. I'm sorry that was so short, but do grab these people because they're full of stories, as you can tell. Danny, you're going to talk to us now about workshops. Thank you very much.